So you're interested in purchasing the new 2025 Chevy Equinox LT, GMC Terrain Elevation, or even Buick Envision Preferred, but might want to know some of the key differences in terms of features, options, packaging, and pricing between all three of these compact SUVs from General Motors. Well, here in today's video, I have the 2025 and 2026 packaging information for the Equinox and Terrain, and the 2025 Envision Preferred packaging, and of course all pricing information available for 2025 as me filming this video. So we're going to run through all of this in a little bit more detail and see what you might be gaining opting for the Buick Envision over that of some of these other two vehicles, but also some of the features that might be missing and or optional on the Envision that do come either standard or optional also on the Equinox and the Terrain. And it really boils down to, some of the things that you're going to value that, like I said, come on the Buick, but unfortunately don't come on the other two brands. So as usual, I want to put a disclaimer here at the beginning of this video, and that I use the GM Fleet Order Guide and the pricing information to the best of my ability to compile this list of similarities and differences for all three of these vehicles. Some of this is going to be 2026 packaging information for the Equinox and the Terrain, the 2025 information for the Envision Preferred, and all the pricing is going to be current 2025 model year pricing, but given the lack of changes for the Equinox and the Terrain, I don't foresee pricing changing all that much for all three of these vehicles. But if that does by chance, I will go ahead and leave updated information down in the description and or the comment section if it is a drastic change. But overall, a lot of this information will hold true for the 2026 model year for all three of these vehicles, and of course the current 2025s. So the way I've set this up here is I'm going to run through the Equinox and the Terrain information like I did in a separate dedicated video comparing those two models, and then I've added in the Envision information down at the bottom, so including things like standard equipment on the Envision that you can't get on those other two vehicles, standard equipment on the Vision that might be optional on the Equinox and the Terrain, and then we have optional equipment maybe on all of them. And there's even a handful of stuff that you can get on the Equinox and the Terrain that is actually not available on the Envision either as standard or optional, which is crazy, and why I think some of this packaging is very, very interesting if you're into this kind of stuff. So starting out with the Equinox LT and the Terrain Elevation. All of these vehicles are going to include adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, blind stone steering assist, side bicyclist alert, automatic emergency braking, intersection automatic emergency braking, reverse automatic braking, and a safety alert seat. In addition to these items, we of course have Google built-in integration, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Sirius XM radio services, OnStar with connected services capable, 6-speaker standard audio system, Wi-Fi hotspot, digital instrument cluster, keyless open and start, remote start, heated front seats, heated steering wheel, LED headlights, LED taillights, active noise cancellation, single zone manual climate control, USB-C ports for the front and second row, heated side mirrors, and then we have the manual lift gate. All of those things are going to be standard on the Equinox and the Terrain Elevation, and a lot of those also carry on to the Envision, which we'll touch on later. Now, between the Equinox and the Terrain, the only Terrain Elevation standard equipment over the Equinox is a second choice of an interior colorway. So with the Terrain Elevation, you have two cloth interiors, After Dark or After Dark in Gideon Gray, more of a two-tone effect, versus the Equinox where it's largely just a black interior. Again, one that I do have a video here on the channel of. There's no equipment on the Equinox LT that is over that or greater than that of the Terrain Elevation. Some of the optional features on both the Equinox LT and Terrain Elevation are going to be a technology package, traffic sign recognition, rear pedestrian alert, HD surround vision camera system, rear digital camera mirror, as well as LED fog lights. There's going to be a convenience package 2 on both vehicles. That also includes a premium package for the Terrain, but all this equipment is going to be largely equal between each of these two. It's just lumped into one package on the Equinox, where it's technically 2 packages on the Terrain. So with the convenience package 2/premium package, you're going to include the synthetic leather seating surfaces, and then with the Terrain specifically, you get the 19-inch technical gray machine finish alloy wheels, where you stick with the regular wheels on the Equinox. And then you have the 8-way power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar, dual zone automatic climate control, auto sense hands-free power liftgate, rain sense wipers, heated wiper park, universal home remote, wireless phone charging, Roof rails are included in this package on the Terrain, but you have to get a midnight or add the sunroof on the Equinox LT to get the roof rails, not included in the convenience package too. And then we do have sunglasses storage. Next up, we have black midnight appearance packages on both vehicles, as well as the option for the panoramic power sunroof. So very nice to see very similar equipment and option groups between both the Equinox and the Terrain. Now moving over to the Terrain optional equipment that you cannot get on the Equinox LT. Very interesting. They have a convenience package 3, which requires the convenience package 2, obviously. Includes 8-way power passenger seat with 2-way power lumbar, ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, as well as memory driver seat with mirror memory. So yeah, that's a lot of nice equipment that you can get on a entry-level standard trim level on the Terrain side of things. Unfortunately, not available on the Equinox LT for that convenience package 3. You have to get an active trim or RS. So then now moving on to the Envision, or bringing that vehicle into this comparison, it's very interesting to see, I guess, the Envision standard equipment and what is made optional on it versus these other two. So first up, I want to include the main comfort and convenience package on the Envision Preferred. This is an optional package, really the only main option group on the vehicle in that trim level, and how that equipment stacks up to the Equinox and the Terrain. So in this main comfort and convenience package for the Envision, we have remote start, heated front seats, heated steering wheel, dual zone automatic climate control, hands-free power liftgate, universal home remote, automatic air recirculation, and an air quality sensor. Now, in parentheses of each standalone option within that package, I have whether that's standard, optional, or not available in the Equinox and the Terrain. And as you can see, it's a good mix. There's a couple things that are standard on the Equinox and Terrain, including remote start, heated seats, heated steering wheel, that are optional on this Envision. You have the hands-free power liftgate, universal home remote, and dual zone automatic climate control, also optional on the Envision, also optional on the Terrain Equinox. And then we have a couple not available, including automatic air recirculation and an air quality sensor that actually display on the main infotainment screen, as not available at all on the Equinox and the Terrain. Now moving on to the Envision standard features that are also optional on the Terrain Equinox. So these are standard again on the Envision, also optional on the Equinox Terrain. We have 8-way power driver seat with 4-way lumbar in the Buick, 2-way lumbar in the Equinox and the Terrain. Single zone automatic climate control, dual zone automatic climate control is optional on basically all vehicles. Wireless phone charging, roof rails are standard, HD surround view camera system, rear pedestrian alert, traffic sign recognition, memory driver seat, and leatherette seating. So I put in parentheses Terrain only for the memory driver seat, because you can't get memory seats on the Equinox LT, but you can technically get them in the Terrain Convenience Package 3, a fully loaded Terrain, but that is standard equipment on the Envision, believe it or not. Next up, we have Envision Preferred standard equipment that is not available at all on the Equinox or the Terrain, and this is going to include the 2-liter turbocharged engine with a 9-speed automatic transmission, 30-inch curved infotainment and digital display cluster, 9-speaker Bose premium audio system, heads-up display, adaptive LED headlights with country light, driver's side dimming mirror, as well as the automatic dimming interior mirror, and RGB ambient interior lighting. So these to me are a core group of features and options that, they're actually not available on those other two vehicles, but really some of these things might be deal breakers for some people in the market for a compact SUV, such as heads-up display, the Bose premium audio system, the dimming mirrors, as well as the 2-liter turbo engine. I think those are going to be the main differentiating factors here in this comparison. But some of those other things, very nice premium features, RGB ambient lighting, adaptive LED headlights, things like that. Then we have features standard on the Equinox Terrain that are optional on the Envision I already covered. Remote start, heated front seats, heated steering wheel. Interesting to see that they've done that, but nonetheless, that is the case for this packaging. And then we have features optional on the Equinox and the Terrain that are actually not available at all on the more expensive Buick Envision Preferred. That is going to be the rear digital camera mirror that comes on the Avenir trim only. 8-way power passenger seat with 2-way lumbar, Terrain only, ventilated front seats, Terrain, heated rear seats, Terrain, memory driver seat with memory mirrors. Actually, I need to remove that because that is technically found on the Envision Preferred as standard equipment. So nonetheless, that is gonna be the Terrain versus Equinox versus Envision comparison, again, to the best of my ability. Sure, there's going to be a few other probably very small things that I may have missed in this comparison, but that is me doing hours of research and comparing all three of these models for you guys. Let's go ahead and continue on into pricing information. Now, again, this is 2025 pricing, including destination for all of these vehicles, starting with the Equinox LT front-wheel drive, $29,995. All-wheel drive will be $2,000 more, so an all-wheel drive is going to be $31,995. Convenience package 2 is going to be $2,200 or $2,050, depending on if you get some of the other option packages such as panoramic power sunroof. Midnight edition is going to be $1,045 or $895. Safety and technology $1,085, and panoramic power sunroof $1,495, which brings a fully loaded Equinox LT all-wheel drive with safety, convenience 2, and sunroof to $36,625, including destination. A Terrain Elevation front-wheel drive is going to be $31,395. All-wheel drive, once again, $2,000 more. Convenience 2 / premium package, again, this is one option package, is going to be $2,700 or $2,100 with additional option groups. Black edition $895, technology package $1,085, convenience 3 $950, and panoramic power sunroof $1,495. So this brings a fully loaded Terrain Elevation all-wheel drive, including all of the packages in convenience package 3 minus the black edition, to $39,625, or subtracting out that convenience package 3 for an equivalent Equinox LT fully loaded, $38,675. Now, bringing in the Envision Preferred pricing, this is where it gets somewhat interesting. Automatically get all-wheel drive with every Buick Envision. So a base Preferred all-wheel drive is going to be $37,895, including destination. Comfort and convenience package $1,350. Panoramic power sunroof $1,495, which brings a fully loaded Envision Preferred all-wheel drive in the standard white paint color to $40,740. So going back up and looking at some of the pricing between each of these two vehicles, you're going to have over or just over a $4,000 difference from a fully loaded Equinox LT to a fully loaded Envision Preferred all-wheel drive. So that's kind of to be expected in my opinion. But when you go back to the Terrain side of things, it's going to be roughly a $2,000 difference or a $1,000 difference if you're comparing that convenience package 3 in the Terrain Elevation to that of a loaded up Envision Preferred. Now, to be fair, a lot of that equipment in that convenience package 3 Terrain you cannot get in the Envision also. Can't get ventilated seats, you can't get the power passenger seat with lumbar, can't get heated rear seats. So that is kind of exclusive equipment, digital rear camera even. But at the same time, I mean, if you want to compare apples to apples with fully loaded, you might include that, you might not. It just kind of depends on what your thought process is behind it. But the way I see it, I guess, is, when I boil this pricing down a little bit further, is the standard features on the Envision, even though you have to option that comfort and convenience package in for that $1,300, all of that feature is very impressive. And when you throw that 2-liter turbo engine in, you throw that interior curved display in, you throw that 9-speaker Bose audio, heads-up display, adaptive LED headlights, and the dimming mirrors, I think there is a value proposition to be had on this Buick versus the other two vehicles. Now, I've seen a bunch of comments on my Equinox content that I put out saying, oh, I wish they offered the 2-liter turbo. Oh, I wish they offered a V6 engine or just more powerful powertrain options. And I totally agree with you guys on that. I really think It is disappointing that the 2-liter turbo is not available in the Equinox or the Terrain any longer. But that's where the Buick Envision comes into play. And after doing this research and after doing this comparison, for just over 40 grand, before any discounts or anything like that, you can get that 2-liter turbo and all of the options that you can get on the base entry-level trim level, which is basically more than that of a fully loaded Equinox LT and equivalent to that for the most part of a Terrain Elevation for a very slight price differential. But then going back to the Terrain, it is interesting that they have that convenience package 3 offered on that mod on this trim level, which technically makes it in some regards more equipped, but just a couple features more than that of the Buick. But largely, I think the Buick's going to be tuned chassis-wise, driving-wise, just to be a more refined, luxurious experience, especially than that of the Equinox and the Terrain, which are, don't get me wrong, very competent vehicles. But you throw that more powerful, torquey 2-liter turbo in, and some of these other premium aspects, I think that's where the big differentiating factors come in, and the price premium also starts to come in and show in quality, craftsmanship, things like that. But you guys will have to let me know your thoughts and opinions on this value proposition, or this, I guess, 3-way compact SUV comparison down in the comment section below. If you guys are thinking about color options, there are going to be differences. For example, the Equinox has more free, no-charge paint colors versus the Terrain and the Buick, which have basically white as free, the Summit White, and all the other paint colors are going to be extra costs. I don't like that way of doing it. And then what's also good about all three of these models is that, say you don't want the panoramic power sunroof, you can basically get all the other features and options that you want. Well, maybe not that. We'll have to check on that convenience package 3, but I think you can get a convenience package 3 Terrain without that sunroof. So that saves you, $1,500 right there, and that might bring the pricing differential down to a more reasonable price point in all three of these vehicles, if you don't want to sacrifice some of those other features and options. So I do like the way GM does that versus other manufacturers. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and or found something helpful. If you did, make sure to hit that like button below, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know which one you would choose if you're in the market for a compact SUV from General Motors. All three of these vehicles are within just a couple inches in terms of size from one another. So length, width, height, all of these dimensions are going to be within like 2 inches of one another, including on the interior side of things, mostly the same as well. Some slight leg room differences, height, in terms of headroom, things like that. But again, very marginal differences. So essentially, these are all going to be on the very similar type or size of platform. And yeah, really that just does show that they're very comparable in that regard. It just comes down to what brand you want, what price you want to pay, and what features and options you're looking for. Anyways, let me know your pick and why down in the comment section below. As always, hit that like button, share this video with anybody you think might be interested. And as always, I hope to see you guys in the next one.